We'll put those in first in the back, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah. Kind of exciting. These are gonna be some sick windows. These are Anderson 400 series, black exterior, black interior, all the bells and whistles.
These are nice windows.
Yeah, I'm excited, dude. Windows will make a building. For sure, dude.
It's warm.
All right, windows delivered. Now I'm just excited to get them installed. So we got a lot of work ahead of us. First, we need to get our grade board in. That way we can put sheathing up. We got a door we're gonna have to frame. So I'll probably work on that. You start on grade board?
Sure.
You love grade board anyway, dude.
It's my favorite.
All right, let's go. All right, we just got all those Anderson windows unloaded from the truck. Now, I wish that I was literally bringing them into a semi-finished building that I could go start installing them, but we still have, as you can see, quite a bit of work ahead of us. Now, unfortunately, the snow actually came over the weekend, like the weatherman said, and we can't get up on the roof and finish that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna stay off the roof, stay safe, and this is kind of nice because the ground is frozen, the surface. We've got 2 days of below freezing temperatures. Not great to work in, but this whole back area, these 2 back walls, they're actually fairly easy. We've got 4 windows. So we have 4 window frames, 1 walk door frame to put in, and then we can sheathe these walls. And if we can get this done over the next couple days while the ground is still frozen, I would be very happy because that means we will not have to go back there in mud, and we can stay on the front of the building where we have lots of gravel. We can get to the roof where we can work off of gravel and lift. So we're gonna go ahead, work hard and get into this and try to get our grade board, our window frames, and move into sheathing, so let's go. I should not have put long johns underneath my pants.
Underneath your T3.
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
I'm sweating, dude. All right, so this is my first door frame I'm gonna put in. Now, one thing I will say is that these doors, the rough opening is 37 1/4. I've got actually a 43 1/4 rough opening, and that is because I was originally planning on a steel door here. When the concrete wall got put in and things changed, I ended up going with an Anderson door to match all my windows. So I'm gonna have to frame this in a little bit more. I always do a bigger knockout in my concrete. You can see my wall here, and then my floor is 2 inches lower. I want solid framing down to the floor so that my door is not just sitting against this concrete and then my framing starts here. So I already planned on doing that anyway. It just means that I'm gonna have 2 jams instead of just 1 jam going down, which honestly, I don't really care. That's fine. It's just 1 more board, but it will make it more solid. So I need to get my boards cut to my rough opening, and then I need to rip them to 5 1/4 so that they match the dimension of the 2 posts that are right here. So when I run my framing through on the inside and the outside, everything is in nice plane. I'm gonna get my table saw out and get these boards ripped down, cut to size, and then we'll get this door installed. By the way, Greg is gonna be working on grade board. What are you looking at? Greg's gonna be working on grade board, which usually you guys see us use a treated grade board, but we're not gonna use treated. And you know what? I don't care who out there says you have to use treated. Guess what? It's my building. I'm not using treated. We're gonna use whitewood, and I'll tell you why. 2 things about treated lumber. One, I swear it's never a true dimension. Sometimes it's 1.5 inches, sometimes it's up to 1 3/4 inches. And what that does is, like specifically right here where this door is, if I run my grade board with treated, the bottom of my door will inevitably be thicker than the middle section. Now, when I go to put my door in, either I bring my bottom out to match the thickness at the bottom, which then potentially pulls it out of plumb, or I have it either set into the wall or stick out of the wall. I don't like that. So by using whitewood, it's the same dimension as all my other stuff. We're gonna be up above grade. We're going to be taping the bottom, as you see right here. So there's gonna be no contact. And then we're going to be taping the outside, the inside. There's not gonna be any issue with moisture. It's my building, I don't care. Well, I always care what people think. So if you guys wanna leave a comment and tell me how stupid I am about using whitewood, you can do that. I'll read it, I'll laugh a couple times, and I might even argue with a couple of you in the comment. You know, it's all good, but that's what Greg's gonna be working on, and I'm gonna get this door framed. Just thought about this, and even though this is made up and I can do 2 individual jams, together to kind of make up this difference that I originally planned a metal door opening to be in here. I'm actually not gonna do that. I'm still just gonna go ahead and run one jam, and I'll tell you why. Not just because I'm being cheap and trying not to use material, but because if I use two, then I have 3 inches of wood. If I use one, I only have 1.5 inches. That means less thermal bridging around this door. So there's no reason to have that additional framing down at this bottom. I'll just get it all sealed in, and then I'll foam that area with some spray foam. That'll be a good spot to do that. So I don't know. I don't want you guys to see me not do it now and then be like, what the heck, Kyle? You said you were gonna do 2 boards. I thought about it. I don't think I'm gonna anymore. But I am gonna tape the bottom of my jam so that it sits on the concrete. It will, you know, not be in contact with the concrete. It will be protected. This will just end up having like a little 1.5 inch gap right here that'll get filled in later with some spray foam. I like that. Now, before I go ahead and frame my door, I'm just gonna confirm that my wall is still plumb because, you know, it's been sitting here for a little while. I don't know, it could move around, but that looks pretty much beautiful. So let's go ahead and check this corner. We do have our chains still holding this in. We have all this roof structure on, so it should be good. But the last thing I want to do is start framing my doors, my windows, trying to make them square, plumb, level, and then had forgotten to check the wall. And then when we go put sheathing on, we got to move everything. It's just one of these things that's always good practice to check these things. I like that. We're good there. Wall is plumb, so now I can install this door. You guys remember when we were marking our foundation for these brackets, we had the laser and I said, oh, we go through all of our doorways and we also put marks where, you know, the laser was so that we could be perfectly straight. We forgot this door. So now I'm just gonna take my straight edge and I'm just gonna get myself a nice mark so I know where this door is supposed to be framed. And before I frame this door, what I need to do, because our grade board is gonna come through here, but there's nothing that's gonna lock this door in place, I'm gonna get some blocking cut and I will mount it right on this line, right where my jam is gonna get framed, and then I'll tap con that down into the concrete. That's what those lines are for, and that just ensures that I'm starting off on the right foot here, and then I can plumb it up from there.
I would have gone bigger. I would have gotten a
You
foot.
told me that was enough.
I just wanted you to make your own decision.
Well, I'm gonna make another decision, and it's gonna be to not use these. All right, so there's my first block. I've got it all protected from concrete. I got my 1.5 inch mark because this is actually gonna come in 1.5 inches. And I'm gonna line this up right on my line I made. So that will be my block that's going to give me structure down here. That should be plenty deep enough. Turn that on. Heck yeah. So I'm gonna set this first block 1.5 inches off because I know that was my dimension, and then I'll measure from this to that to get the exact setting of that. I won't just measure 1.5 inches off of that opening, just to ensure it's as accurate as possible. So now what I can do is I'm gonna take this bad boy, my first jam, and I'm gonna screw this into this block. Yo. Nice thing is this block, because I cut it square, it also ensures that my jam is nice and square. This way. So now I'll just go ahead and plumb it up. So unfortunately my battery was dead on my laser. And so we're just gonna do the old fashioned way, which is still probably plenty good. I'm just gonna get my marks right where the jam goes. And this fine, yeah, that works good. I just like the laser because it gives me a visual without any real effort. And I guess this isn't too hard either. I'm just a laser guy, I like lasers. So we'll get our screws set. That'll give me a good idea right where this guy goes. Let's see, we'll line that up. What do you know, that actually wasn't too hard after all. Okay, that's one jam. I'll go ahead and throw some more screws, and then I'll measure over my rough opening dimension, and that will determine where my other jam goes. So this will actually get blocking down, That'll close this area off. And then this little square that could have been another piece of lumber, I could have done that. That will just get filled with spray foam, and we'll be golden there. 38 5/8. And then down here, I will also set this guy at 38 5/8 from here. So let's get this taped. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. See, I don't know what to do. I don't know if I need gloves. I want gloves. I can't work with them with this tape, but it's a little bit cold over here in the shade. It's frustrating. This time of year, it's like, you know, you can work. It's not that you can't work. It's just everything is a little bit more cumbersome. Cleaning up snow off of your material piles, not being able to go on a roof because it's covered in snow.
You done complaining?
No, I'm not done complaining. I just am taking after you for a minute, you know?
Oh, okay.
Just enjoying the feeling of just complaining, yeah. My beautiful concrete floor, and the first day we got this crack right off the corner before we could even do any of our cutting. It's unfortunate. I don't know why it did it. We couldn't figure it out, but that's like where things always crack, is off corners. You can always do your best. You can do all the cuts in the world on your concrete, but concrete is a funny thing, and it will just do whatever it wants. So unfortunately, right by my walk door, it's like the only crack in the floor that I see. But it's just a cosmetic crack. It's a shrinkage or whatever, obviously, but kind of sucks. All right, now that I got this framed here, I can go ahead and cut these out, and then I'm going to do a little detail down here to fill this all in nice. And then I've got to do my header up there as well. You guys have probably seen me do a couple door frames in the past, so I don't think we need to go too in depth. There, to be honest, I'm just happy to not have to climb over this wall anymore back here. I can go through this dang doorway. So now what I'm gonna do is I took a 2x12, I ripped it down so that what I can do is fill in this void right here with the grade board. So I'm just gonna set this here, and I'm just gonna mark this just because that's easier than having to pull a tape out. And then I'm gonna mark right here where it goes down to the concrete. And I can see I'm about 1 7/8 inches. So then we can just come here. I'm gonna go up 1 7/8 inches. Yeah, right there. And this will be my rip line right there, like so. There. So that'll sit there. Give me something nice and tight to tape to. I'm gonna grab some Lexel and I'm gonna squeeze it down in here though, underneath. And I'm also gonna tape this off so it doesn't come in contact with the concrete. And I'll do that on both sides, and I'll just go to this post right here. I've actually never done this detail on one of our buildings. This is a first for me. I've always gotten to the point where we have that little spot under there, because normally we'll run our grade board like so. And then we're like, oh, we got this little spot. Let's just throw a board in there. But I told Greg, let's just go ahead and do that right now with the grade board. Let's just fill it all in as one. And I think it'll be a good way to do it from now on, which is kind of the point of this build. Be able to experiment, try some new things, not just do status quo on everything. Like use green treated lumber on your grade board. Forget that. All right, just because this is a weird area here, like I'm gonna have Fentrum, which you guys, if you don't know what Fentrum is, you wanna stay tuned and check it out because it is the best thing since sliced bread, especially for dealing with this air barrier here. So you notice what Greg has been doing, the grade board, we don't have any foam underneath of there. Now, a lot of times with a sill, you'll put a sill plate sealer. I don't know if that's necessarily needed in our application, and I decided not to do it because of the details that we will be doing later. And the first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and kind of create a connection point with Lexel in this area, okay? I don't need it to be a crazy connection point, but just trying to go back to everything so that when this gets pushed in, this little area will be sealed off. And the reason I'm not doing the whole thing is because we will have another connection detail across all this that will encompass this whole area. And I just wanted to double check and just make sure that I had something a little extra just in case. So now I can go ahead, I'm just gonna suck this over if it goes. I don't think it will come over much, if at all. So I'm actually really happy with that. I'm happy. That's the first time we've done that. So I'll do the same thing over here, and then we got our header to put on. I am quite pleased with that simple thing. Just never done it before.
You know, it's not a bad idea.
Not bad, huh? Kinda.
Not the worst idea you had.
Whew. Okay, header. I've already got that ripped down. Now what I need is my length of my header. So we're just going to pull a tape. Now the importance of this board here is to stiffen up the top connection. So from wall to wall or post to post. So that's why we fill in this 2x6 all the way across. And then I got to make sure when I put this back screw in that I'm square, which I am not. But we can just easily move this right where we want it right now so that I'm square. Beauteous. So once we have that installed like so, then we're gonna do our header. So I call that more like a stiffener board. And then this is gonna be our header, which is just a 2x6, nothing real special. And it is gonna go like so. Should be about flush on that end. And the goal here is to screw it flush with the bottom of my stiffener board. So right there. And a lot of times you guys see us use 2x4s for this. It is good enough. I just thought for the extra cost, I'm just gonna use all 2x6 material. Not needed. Greg is giving me a hard time about it, but I just think I'm only doing this once. A lot of these window openings are quite large. They're not our standard window. So I just wanted to add a little bit of more structure. And instead of doing some 2x4s, the big windows 2x6s, I just said I'm gonna do all 2x6s. It is what it is. So the last thing I gotta do now is just fill in these spaces with blocking so that it's ready for sheathing. The problem here is as that lumber expands in the cold, we fasten it and then it will potentially shrink and then we have some gaps. So I'm gonna use this good lumber that I bought over the weekend that has not been out here in this weather, or that I covered up with my big brain. I covered it up before the snow and I didn't cover the rest of the stuff up because I forgot. All right, on to the window box install. And this girt right here, as long as it's level, which it should be based on whether or not we did a good job, this is gonna become our header for the windows around everywhere. And okay, that's good enough for me. And so we're gonna try to keep all these upper windows. I'm not gonna do lower windows in this section over here, whether I, park something in front of it or if I'm playing basketball in here or doing something. I don't want windows to be a problem, so I'm gonna put them all up high. And I've learned over the years in doing other people's shops and my own shop, I put 2 upper windows in. I absolutely loved them. So this building's gonna have 6 upper windows in this main shop, and they are gonna be some massive windows. So these are my window boxes. These are gonna get mounted right about there. Greg, does that look like the right spot, buddy?
Yeah, if you want them all the same, that's where you go. See, those windows are gonna be in like a complete different section, so it doesn't matter if that one's close to the ceiling or not, right?
Yeah, you know what, I'm with you. If I put a motorhome in front of this wall here, it'll be at like 13 feet. So that would take up
block
these
it
windows.
all.
So I might as well go up one more.
I think you should. I would ask the customer, talk it over with the customer.
Let me make a quick phone call and see what they think.
Yeah. Because he might say differently.
Hey, Kyle, where do you want your windows? All right, we're gonna do it. We're gonna go up one more. Thanks for your insight, Greg.
You're welcome.
Sometimes it's not about needing somebody to make the decision, it's somebody to help push you in a direction, because there's literally no right or wrong answer. But when a customer tells you they want it, it's the right answer.
Right.
Here, when you're the customer, I kind of got to be like,
I like to play the devil's advocate because I give you.
I can't hear him anymore. I don't know. He was saying something. I already pushed it out.
Anymore.
I already had pushed the button, you know, the delay, and there was nothing I could do about it. So when laying out these windows, it's important for me, because I've made this mistake, is to think about, you know, later on down the road, not just where the window is going to look good, but how it's going to get finished, trimmed. And because we're using a board and batten on this wall, how do those battens tie into the layout? So I've already thought also about my roof layout, in that my standing seam is going to start in the center of that roof and it's going to go out to the eaves, or I guess the rakes, whatever. That means that I kind of want the center of my battens to start in the center of my wall, so that my battens will line up with the 16-inch on center roofing material that I'm using. So everything hopefully lines up. Now, when it gets to the window install, I need to think about where those battens are going to line up on the window, so that I don't have an issue where a batten is coming right down and hits the corner of my window trims. I want it to either die in on the top or go cleanly past it and not look all weird. So this is my center of my wall. I should have drove this just a little bit closer. So what I've got is, from this point, every 16 inches is basically where my batten layout is going to be. So if I mark this here and here, you know, those are like the two battens in the center that I can kind of go off of for my layout. And this is my center of my window. It's right here, 36 and 3/16, okay? From there, I can take a batten mark, and let's just say I put a batten in the center here. So all my battens are 16-inch on center. So if I put a batten in the center layout here and I come down to the edge of my window, I'm gonna have a batten right here. That's great, because it's not gonna be in this area where my trims are. The problem is, I need to be roughly 38 inches off of this mark. Here, I'm 34. Here, I'm 35 3/4. So that does not work. So what I'm gonna have to do is, unfortunately, it won't be an exact even batten layout on this window. I made myself a 4-inch mark each side, and I'm just gonna kind of get a feel for where I want this. All of this is to say, you have to think far enough ahead. If you're just the framer, think about, well, maybe most people are gonna have an architect design it, but then again, a lot of you guys watching this, you're probably gonna self-design, kind of like me, maybe build it yourself. You gotta think through all these different things, so that when you get to the install of your finishes and your trims, you know, you kind of thought about layout and the important things, and didn't just get ahead of yourself. This is gonna be a little tricky, but it looks like if I line up that 4-inch mark with that batten line there, I should be good, because I'll have a batten, something like that, which will be plenty past my trim, and I'll have a batten right on the inside of my window, which will be on top of my trim corner. So hopefully that made sense, guys. I think every situation will be different, but I'm trying to think through to the very end, because I'm the guy that has to do all that work, and I want it to be not only easy, but also kind of aesthetically pleasing to my eye. If you guys didn't understand that, go ahead, drop me a comment down below, ask me a question, and we'll go from there. Yeah, it's gonna be tight.
Would you like my help?
Oh, I would love your help. You know, something people do always ask us is what bits we're using. These are just GRK bits. Like, they literally come with the same screws that we're using. So there's not a special bit. I mean, unless you consider that a special bit. You got the level right there? Let's drop it. Oh no, are we gonna have to rip these boards?
Oh boy, didn't think of that, did you?
It's 5.5.
No way. No way.
Go down.
No way.
It's just like I planned it. No, but for real, look at that. That's pretty remarkable design and layout, wouldn't you say, guys? Is I got a 2x6 there. I know. I don't want it to overhang the post.
It does, well, that's an inch pass for me.
Yeah, it's fine. So the only reason I don't like doing this is, and I haven't talked about it yet, but the goal is to insulate this 1.5-inch cavity with comfort board from rock wool, and that's gonna give me a thermal break between the column and the sheathing on the outside. Typically we just bat in between the columns, but I thought, you know what? We should run this insulation in this bay also to add more insulation. And I guess I won't have it here in my window bay, but it'll be all right.
I want to make sure this is perfect for my customer.
Yeah, perfect will definitely be the goal here. Now, Greg, here, let's do this. Ugh, what do you think? Do you think we...
Wedge it.
I gave myself a 1/2 inch around the rough opening on all sides so that not only I could, you know, make sure the centering is like really good, but also I wanted to be able to have enough room to get insulation in that cavity. So I'm not worried. Does it look pretty good? Oh yeah, beautiful, dude. I kind of want this lumber to go here so I can tie all that together.
Well, then just drop it down a little bit.
You think it will?
Drop it down.
Yeah, we go like to 2.5 because you got 48s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. All right, nice. I just love thinking through things on the fly with Greg. He's so accommodating. It's just beautiful. I'm thinking we probably just cut a 2x6 in. That'll go, you know, we'll still be plenty there. I think that's what we'll do. Okay, 5.5, not 5 3/8. Don't want Greg getting mad at me.
I will.
I know. This customer is a little bit more particular. He likes to see his stuff done over the top. You know what I'm saying?
Is that why he hired this camera guy to follow us around?
Yeah. He wanted to make sure that we were doing a good job.
You want no secrets? I put the rip side outside.
You son of a gun. Well then, that's okay, it's okay. We're on a new wall, so put the rip side on the outside on this one also, okay? That way these are the same.
You want to know another secret?
What? Are you lying to me? You son of All right, well played, dude, well played. Well played. All right, so now that we've got those window frames installed, these two back walls, they're basically ready to sheet, except for I want to confirm like as precise plumb as possible. So I just set up the LAX 600, which is a green line laser, and I set it right on the edge of this girt. And Greg, up there, what do you see for the laser?
I'm seeing like a heavy 3/16.
Up to this point, we've had the plate level, and on 12 feet, that's pretty darn accurate. And Greg is saying we're 8 3/16 out of plumb, 20 feet in the air, almost 19 feet. So we're gonna go ahead and just give ourselves a slight wedge. I know that we're probably not really needing to chase this 3/16, but since we can, and before we put the sheathing on, I'd say we might as well. So all I'm going to do is go down to my chain down here, and I'm just gonna wedge a board, and hopefully, Greg, it will move for you. Or do you want me to, which way do you want me to go? So just wedge a little bit more? Oh, there's nothing on here. Is that moving it? Too much. A little bit of work here. I know I can just move this chain up a little. Let's try that again. So I need to go back your way. We're splitting hairs, guys, laser hairs. So if we're splitting laser hairs, I'm okay with that. I just wanted to make sure that from here to 19 feet in the air, we're as close to plumb as possible. Corners are important. We're gonna be using Smart Side pre-made corners, and I've installed those enough times to know that they're solid, they're rigid, they don't have a ton of flex. So if our corners aren't straight, that means those corners do not install as nice, and that's not what I want. So now that we have the very bottom and the very top plumb with each other. Greg is telling me that we're maybe 3/16 in the middle. There's a bow in the wall, and once again, we got the laser out. Let's just go ahead and make it right. It doesn't take that long. And this customer is a fickle, picky, grouchy guy, so we're gonna do it. I was gonna say fickle something else, Greg, but I thought that was probably not. Yeah, I don't think my mother would like me to say that, you know? Blades wet, dude? Yeah. I think we can convince this customer. I think we can convince him. I'm like, money. I mean, you guys probably can't see this, but there's my laser. We're right on the edge. You know, that's what we're going for, is right on the edge of these girts all the way up. Dude, I'm so excited, guys. We finally got this window frames going in, which starts to give me a look on what the design is gonna be, how it's going to end up looking, and even more importantly, I am pumped because we've got Weatherlogic sheathing going up on these walls. So definitely stick around because we're gonna be back tomorrow. It's still freezing cold. We can't get on that roof, and we're gonna keep going with this Weatherlogic wall sheathing.